All right. So today I want to talk about Hyperland in 2025. I did a video last year on Hyperland and just kind of talked about how I was liking it, and it was new to me a little bit at that point. When I did release that video, I was using I actually don't remember what distribution I was using, but I know I was still using the same IDE configuration, like a pre-configured Hyperland config that I'd still use and love. And basically, I kind of want to go into how I feel about Hyperland now, kind of versus then. And I've also tried a bunch of different other, distributions and desktop environments and window managers between now and then. And I keep finding myself coming back to Hyperland. So some of the things that I really like, so I'll kind of jump into the pros first, and then I'll jump into the cons after that. But pros wise, this was actually it's like a con and a pro to be honest with you. But I really like that everything's configured through a configuration file because it makes your system a little bit more rock solid and prone to, I mean, nothing's prone to like updates and breakage, but it's a little bit more prone to that because when you have a GUI for your actual settings, things can just go wrong or things just don't work exactly the way you set it. But like it seems when you set something within your Hyperlink configuration, it just sets and works and stays that way. So if I have my monitor set some way, it's going to be set that way every time I boot my system. I don't have to worry about it, messing up or changing. Where like on KDE, for instance, like randomly my primary monitor would be different when I log into my system, and then I have to go into the settings and change it. There's no rhyme or reason why it happened. It just happened, and I don't really know why. So yeah, so I just like that, setting your system that way, setting everything up, and then also you can just, copy and paste those configuration files if you do move to a different system or get a new computer or whatever the case might be. If you have multiple computers, it's very easy to, get up and running with the same configuration that you had. And if you're used to like GitHub and stuff, you can actually, own your own repo and kind of do it that way. But now I'm on CachyOS, which I think is quite honestly one of the best distros out there right now. I'll probably make another video on just that specifically because I have a lot to say about that. But I'm on CachyOS and I am using the Hyperland IDE uh, pre-configured configuration by default, and then I just kind of customize it as I went through it. So everything is kind of customized to my liking, and everything is really nice in my opinion. I did add the dock at the bottom, which I've shared in a previous video as well. I do have the bar at the top. I'm currently not using the hyper panel. I'm back to using the Waybar. I had issues with the hyper panel, specifically with AGS not reloading after hyperlock, but then that was fixed. But then I had another issue with the dock and stuff like that. So I'm just using Waybar for the time being. But yeah, so I have my Waybar all set up and configured the way I like it, and everything pretty much just works. The only thing that I miss from a more standard typical desktop environment like KDE, it's just being able to quickly change things without having to like jump in your terminal and do a bunch of things. I mean, most of them are pretty easy and straightforward, but sometimes I do just want to click and make things happen. Because I've heard people say like things in my comments about the bar at the bottom, like if you're on a window manager, why a tiling window manager at that, why would you want a dock? I just prefer it. Sometimes I do use my mouse and I do, want to click instead of, have a key binding for everything, but I do like key bindings as well. So I kind of like, having the best of both worlds where Hyperland is not, I wouldn't say it's the best of both worlds. It is close. You can still have floating windows and have a bunch of, keys to make it the way you want it to, but it's still not, your traditional, desktop. And it's not meant to be, and it's not trying to be either. But I particularly love all the different animations, involved with, switching between, desktops, animations of closing, opening windows, everything is just very, very like fast and efficient. It works well with my system. I really have no issues. Even with my NVIDIA driver, I really don't have any issues. I feel like the whole NVIDIA thing, on Linux is not really a huge thing anymore. It's kind of a thing of the past. They work, pretty well with most things and even for gaming and all that good stuff. But I really think Hyprland is kind of the future of the way desktops should be. And maybe that they'll get to the point where they kind of do like a hybrid type deal where it's kind of have like GUI settings. I know there's been some other dot files that are out there that have some GUI settings and things like being able to change, which is nice. So the more the community gets together and starts adding these things to the Hyperland ecosystem, if you will, I feel like it's really gonna continue to grow and kind of be more of a norm. A lot of people on Arch are using Hyperland now. It's kind of like it is pretty much a norm. I think a lot of people are kind of migrating from the i3 DWM and BSPWM, all these acronyms. I think they're kind of migrating that going to Hyperland because it's great on Wayland and it works and it's functional. So I think it's kind of the route to go nowadays. And if you do want to have something similar to what I have, I would suggest watching my other video, which I'll pin in the comments on this video itself, on how to install using particularly CachyOS and the KDE pre-configured dot files, and I did that through just downloading CachyOS with no desktop and then installing Hyperland directly on there. So I don't have any other bloatware and stuff from like KDE or whatever normal desktop you would have installed initially to get up and running, and everything works really well. And I think this is kind of where I'm going to stay for a while. I did try KDE multiple times. I really like the environment. The tiling got better with the Cronkite, I think it's called. That has been much better and more stable. The one thing I just can't get with KDE is the way they do their workspaces. Or they call them something different, like desktops or whatever in KDE, and the way it transfers between things. I just feel like it's not as fluid, and the fact that you can't have different workspaces per monitor is one of the biggest drawbacks in my opinion. I love to be able to like switch to another monitor and switch the workspace that I'm in, and it doesn't mess up the other monitors that I'm on. Everything stays exactly where they should be, and it just works that way. So I definitely feel like this is, if you haven't, tried Hyperland, go for it. It's a great desktop to be using, and it is my favorite at this time, and I'm going to continue to use it for a while. And yeah, so if you like this video, if you have any questions about Hyperland, feel free to ask. You can also jump in my Discord and talk about things further, and we're always talking about Linux and gaming and everything in there. So yeah, if you like my content, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.